Recovery Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And I took a shower today and it felt good. And sometimes things like that need to be said out loud. Yeah, it was good. It was a hot shower. I cleaned my hair and all my parts, and I have felt so much better since that shower this morning. Call me crazy. My mom and my sister came over to visit, and we had Mediterranean food, and it was delicious. I'm also working on a quilt, which I think I mentioned to you. That is the pieces of the quilt had already been started by my late aunt who passed from ALS. And so my mom gave them to me and thought maybe I would enjoy putting them together. And she was right. So I put one together just in time for her to come over and see it. And I just finished ironing the border for it. So it's been pretty fun. It's totally cute. There is just some extreme satisfaction in doing this because I'm finishing something that my aunt started that she couldn't finish. I think it's giving my mom joy. It's bringing me joy. My sister loves to see it as well. So it's win-win. Yeah, I totally said it yesterday because I remember saying it's win-win. And is that it, Boris? Is that all that happened today? Yes, I think so. Autumn, is that all that happened today? Are you on camera? I don't know if you are or not. Okay. Today I was going back and forth as to number one, whether to record today because I'm having really bad symptoms. And right before I hit record, what did I do? I looked down at my hand and then I looked at the computer and I felt that very rare symptom I have where it feels like the world is about to spin out of control. I get it every now and then when my symptoms are really, really bad. And so I thought about not recording, but I don't know. I thought, well, I'm just going to record through it and let's see if it happens again and I can actually record it happening. So I forgot the other thing I did today. I had a psychiatrist appointment this morning, and I spent the whole hour telling her everything that I did over the past week, and that made me realize that I'm doing too much. Like I have my support group. It's good. It's all good stuff. But we ended the conversation with I need to slow down, rest. I usually that's what the end of every conversation is with her every week is okay, make time for rest. So I really need to sit back and do that. Maybe listen to a book or something like that. I have so many things I want to finish in my life. I got to do it now. I got to do it now. So that was one debate I had. Should I record today because I'm not feeling well? I hate not recording because I feel like we have an unspoken contract here. Seeing that the name of the podcast is Recovery Daily because this is a daily thing. I still have lots of people that say, how do you have something to talk about every day? I mean, do you talk every day? Probably. So I just happen to talk to you online. That's how I have something to say every day. And it's also just very healthy for me to talk about what's going on between my ears and hope that it is helping somebody else while I'm at it. So the other thing I was debating was the topic of the day. So what I was thinking about talking about was learning through discomfort and failure. And I thought, but I feel like everybody talks about that, you know? Honestly, I feel like a lot of the topics that I talk about, everybody talks about. But I thought, Rachel, as soon as you hit recording, you start talking, not everybody is going to say what comes out of your mouth. So I thought, yeah, just talk about it. Let's just see what happens, I need to talk today. I need to talk about a topic that maybe brings up some feelings. So we'll see what comes out. So uh, I feel like this idea of uncertainty comes back to the illusion of control, that all of us go through our day to days and we're craving certainty. We want everything to be certain, from the simplest thing, like my mom and my sister were coming. So I ordered some food and I accidentally ordered it a little early. So it got here at 11:45, but I was fairly certain that my mom and my sister were going to be here at like noon. They weren't. They came at noon 30 at 12:30. Sorry. And but which doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It's just an example of like we have certainty that we are betting on in our day-to-day lives, and when it doesn't happen, it throws me into this, well, what's going to happen? Are they even coming? Are they going to be here at 12:15? Are they going to be here at 12? I start, I think, even catastrophizing what could be happening when they don't arrive at the exact time. I mean, to the minute, at the exact time that they told me to. I think part of that comes with the fact that I don't have a lot going on in my life. I mean, I do, but when it comes to like interacting with people, I'm absolutely like, I need to be available at exactly when I'm expected to be available. So, with these expectations, I think that I'm constantly trying to pave a path of certainty. And when it veers off a little bit, when something doesn't go as planned, when I recognize that, oh, wait a minute, I don't have control over what time they get here, then it starts leading to most of the time fear, but also anxiety. One thing I can't stand is waiting. So if my sister and my mom listen to this, this has nothing to do with you guys coming at 12:30. I'm just trying to prove a point. So it was totally fine. You got here at 12:30, at noon 30. Um, so I have this immediate fear when something doesn't go exactly as I had planned because I think of the worst. And my husband has caught me several times in that when, if my kids don't call when they say they're going to call, like, okay, call me when you get home, and they don't call, I'm like, the worst thing in the world just happened. Um, and I'm uncomfortable immediately when things don't go as I planned them to. So when I exponentially, what's the word? Like, think of that from a whole life's purpose perspective where I had a plan for my life and this is what it was going to be at this place of work, and I have a stroke and I keep trying to force life to go in the direction that I had planned it, and as a result I get debilitating pain to the point where I just can't even look at the computer anymore and I have to shut it. And from that point on, I no longer had a job. I was medically retired, is what I like to call it. And as soon as that happened and life became uncertain, I became full of fear, full of fear. And I was full of fear in several respects. I was full of fear in what's the next thing that's going to be catastrophic that happens in my life, health wise? You know, am I going to have another stroke? Am I going to have a heart attack? Wait a minute. What if something happens to one of my family members? You know, I'm planning on all of us being together for my entire life. What are the odds of that? You know, things are going to happen to our loved ones. And I became hyper aware of that. And so then I was just living with this uncertainty that everybody around me was going to drop dead in any minute. That's really what I have been feeling. That's what that fear has been about in that respect. And then there's the fear of, you know, I went to school and then I went to college and then I started my job and then I got a better job and then I got a better job and then I got a better job and then, oh, you don't have a job. So that was the first half of my life. I worked the first half of my life to reach that point. And then it just was taken away. It was stolen from me, you know? Who stole it? I wish I could blame somebody, but I can't. It just happened. So now I'm looking at the second half of my life and thinking, well, it took me this long to get there. What what can I do to get to the next place I want to be? And where is that place? I don't even know because I was already working on what I wanted to be. So now I have to find out anew what I want to be. And maybe what I want to be is not what I can be because I have a disability now. So there's a lot of uncertainty there. And one of the repeated topics with my psychiatrist was about how no matter how much I planned in my life, I wasn't in control of any of it. You know, there's all I can do is the work, but there are so many factors around us that really influence where we end up. And if I remained in my comfort zone and kept working in my comfort zone and adapting, you know, it's almost like I'm a bowling ball going down the alley and I'm bouncing off of those kids blocker things that keep you from going in the gutter guards. I'm bouncing off of the gutter guards. That's what it felt like in my career. And now I'm like standing at I'm standing in line to get my shoes again at the bowling alley. Like, I don't even know. I don't know the first thing about bowling. I don't know what aisle to pick. I don't know what ball to pick. I don't even think I can throw it. Like, that's how out of water I feel. What I learned to do, and I'm still working on it, but what I learned to do is to embrace the discomfort. And I think what helped me do that was everything always goes back to my sobriety. But what helped me start embracing the discomfort of not knowing where I was headed, and I'm talking in past tense, even though this is still ongoing, is the idea of I didn't know how to go to a happy hour for work without drinking. That was completely uncomfortable. I didn't know how to go to a wedding without drinking. That was completely uncomfortable. And then I think about work. I think about when I was still in my career and I was trying to learn how to do public speaking so that my face wouldn't shake and my voice wouldn't shake. That was uncomfortable. But I learned like by doing, right? I learned by doing that the discomfort is something is the road to growth. It is the road to expanding my abilities. And um, sometimes I think that that feeling of being a bowling ball in my career and just adapting and bouncing off of the gutter guards, if I think about that from where I am now, it's like I'm standing in front of all 26 lanes or however many there are at a bowling alley, and I've just got anxiety. It's not fear right now, um, as much as it is anxiety now about what is going to work in my life. Like, I was feeling so fearful that there was no alley that was made for me, that I had to just observe at that point. I had to just observe everybody else bowling at that point, because I didn't think I was capable. But I'm through experience and through talking to my psychiatrist and going to these amazing support groups with these amazing people who share their experience, not just sobriety but also stroke recovery and vestibular recovery. These people are sharing their experience, strength, and hope with me to let me know that this is what it's like to bowl in this alley. This is what it's like to throw a bowling ball down this alley. And you can do any of them. Like, if you try bowling down this alley and it goes in the gutter, that's not failure. That is just teaching you how to maybe hold the ball a little differently, you know? Um, Making mistakes is is a part of my history, and that's how I was able to adapt and bounce off of the gutter guards. And so today I'm just starting a whole new journey, and learning, really, I wouldn't say from scratch, but learning what direction I want to go in. And I not only need to embrace the discomfort, but embrace that anxiety that for me is always shaking underneath my discomfort. There's always this like trembling underneath, and that trembling is the trembling you could actually see. When I was drinking, it feels very much like withdrawal, but there is anxiety that causes me to tremble as well. So it's like I was in a career where I had bounced off enough gutter guards that I started to be able to throw the ball down the alley without hitting one. You know, I stopped making mistakes so much. Of course, I'm human, but I started to know what I was doing, you know, and now I'm like, well, I'm in a whole different world. I don't know. I have to learn new stuff, and I have to build new resilience, and I have to learn adaptability again in a totally different environment. But I want to remind myself today that facing that uncertainty before, when I was in my career, I never would have been able to guess how far I was going to go in that career. I've told you before that in my very first all hands meeting, on the very first day of my job at my last job, I sat in that all hands and I didn't know what they were saying. Everybody was speaking in acronyms, and I was so full of fear and anxiety and uncertainty. I was uncomfortable. I was anxious. But the way that I responded to that, I remember it specifically thinking, it's okay. You're going to figure it out and you're going to end up being in that president's office talking to him about corporate strategy. That's what you're going to become. And I didn't stop until I did, until I became that. I was that woman that was sitting in there talking to him about it. And I will forever be so proud of myself, especially because I can remember thinking that and then being that like 8 years later. I think it was 7 years later. So, I it's important to remember that. It's important to remember that throughout that journey when I was at that company, I faced uncertainty. I faced setbacks. I faced really difficult people. And I did it. I had a growth mindset. That's what we talked about at the company, all those snazzy words about growth and mindfulness and all of the crap that we all talk about on the podcast. Um, I had all of that. Like I leaned into all of that. And I know that I can do it again. What I told my psychiatrist today was that I realized a couple days ago, I realized when I was doing the vestibular disorder for stroke and TBI support group. That's a really long name. I realized that, hey, I'm good at this. I mean, I'm going to be humble right now, right? No, I realized, hey, I'm good at this. Just opening up a platform for people to come and talk. And all I'm doing is initiating the conversation and asking questions and connecting them. Oh, well, you said that you like this. Well, she likes that too. You guys should talk. I thought I'm pretty good at this. And I immediately remembered the skill set that I gained from my job when I was a marketing director, and how people used to come into my office and want advice and want to talk to me about what direction their career is going or how to handle a certain relationship at work, or advice about what something that's on their to-do list. And I thought that stuff is paying off right here in my recovery. So I want to be more open to when I'm feeling discomfort and I'm feeling anxiety about, okay, you've never done this before. You're getting ready to lead a support group meeting for vestibular disorders for people who had a stroke or a traumatic brain injury. What do you know about that? Because that's what I remember, feeling that way in my job. I remember getting ready to present to the executives, including the owner and the president and the vice presidents and the chief scientist, and they're all sitting in the room. I was the only woman. I was the one presenting, and I remember being so nervous. But beforehand, I was telling myself, "You're the expert. You're the only one in that room who knows marketing as well as you do." And that, although I was still nervous about it, I was able to probably perform a little bit better than I would have had I not remembered that. So that act of gaining confidence in uncertain environments, I have experience with that. And having experience with something, just having the experience through a first, I like to call it a first. It's just like when I was drinking and I did that first time going to the happy hour, or that first time going to a wedding, not drinking. I also have these firsts where I was able to transition my mindset in real time before I was getting ready to present to some pretty important people, and at least in my life, they were important people that I needed to make sure that I came across looking like I know what I'm talking about. Um, I have that experience. So now I can look back and I can, in times of uncertainty and anxiety, I can cultivate that positive outlook to focus on solutions. Like, what can I do right now to calm myself down? What can I do to bounce off of the guardrails right now? Where is the adaptability here in my current recovery life? And just, I think it's helpful for me. Oh, I just had it. I just had it. The little drop thing, room spinny thing. Um, so I'm gonna go, but I'm almost done, so that's good. But when where is the adaptability and remembering that because I was capable of doing it back then when everybody was watching, I can certainly do it now when nobody is watching. I mean, you all are watching, but I don't see you, and there's a little bit of ease in talking about stuff when I don't have hundreds of people looking right back at me like I did when I was at work. So I know that I can embrace change. Change is the only constant in our lives. And I am trying to remember that. I'm trying to remember that I developed skills in my life so far, the first half of my life. I developed skills already for navigating the unknown. I've already developed skills for adapting to new situations. And one thing that I know for freaking sure is that uncertainty can lead to exciting and unexpected opportunities. And things can go as planned. They can go as planned. It's not always going to veer off, but when it does, and in a big way, like it did for me, it can lead to new and exciting stuff that I never did have planned. So I am going to leave this episode with a really positive feeling in my heart that there's a lot of good stuff still ahead for me and for you. I'm certain of that. So thanks for listening today, and I will talk to you tomorrow.